Hi, this is Chuck Robinson, and this is the show Notes from the Master's Class, and today is Tuesday, December 3rd, 2013. And if you're like anything like I am, you're going through days right now when you look out in the world and say, boy, this is a mess that we're in. And then there are other days when you look out at the world and say, wait a minute, this is pretty good. This is a real possibility. There's reason for hope. Now, when you're looking at the things that create despair, there are plenty of them. All you have to do is go as far as genetically modified organisms, which apparently are the seeds that are producing almost all of the grains and a lot of other things that we are using. Now, if you've ever asked, does evolution exist? Think about this. In my lifetime, which is a little over 70 years, we have put in at least 500 new chemicals into the environment every year since 1960. And these new chemicals are put in the environment and nobody knows how they're going to affect us. But somehow or another, so far, we have been able to evolve or adapt or adopt or become capable of living in an environment that is polluted by things that we don't even know what it's doing to us. But we are still surviving. And if you think about the other things that are causing us despair, all of us know that it seems like the corporations, and not just the quote-unquote American corporations, but the global corporations, want to really run the show of governments, and we're seeing it right here in our own government. And we also see governments, especially our government, that does not seem to work so well. Imagine this. This is the 3rd of December, and the United States Congress plans in the next 8 days that they're going to be working to pass 3 bills, all of which are massively unimportant. Now, what's that about? Well, we don't know what it's about, but it begins to make you ask the question, who exactly is in control here? Who's calling these shots? And from the appearance of just looking at things, nobody is controlling anything. And because of that, we can have a little bit of hope, because nobody has shown up at my door, and they probably haven't shown up at yours and said, oh, by the way, we're in control now and you'll do what we tell you. But that's part of the despair, because that could actually happen all over the world. Now, on the hope side of the scale, there's one thing that's really, really important, and I'd like for you to consider that. You will remember that about 6 weeks ago or so, the President of the United States came on the television and said, folks, sorry to tell you this, but we're going to have to go to war in Syria because those people killed some kids, and we got to deal with that. Now, never mind the fact that there were and are 1 million child refugees who have left Syria and are living in the desert in tents, and they can have hardly any water. There's no sewage, there's no electricity, and there's no education. Here's 1 million kids that need help. But we were planning on taking our resources and going in and killing some more people. Doesn't make any sense, and it didn't then. So, within 36 hours, the president comes back and says, well, you know, I think I'm going to take this to the Congress and let them buy into it. And then shortly after that, the Syrians said, wait a minute. We'll give up our weapons of mass destruction, our chemical weapons. You guys can have it. And all of a sudden, the reason for going to war was blown away. Now, that didn't happen by accident. And it wasn't 1 or 2 people in Washington or Syria or Russia or any place else that made it happen. It was you and I. Because without parades, without protests, without writing articles or anything else, we all just said to ourselves, you know what? We don't want that. It's like the 1960s when they said, suppose they gave a war and nobody came. Well, that happened to us. And here's why that happened. You and I are connected to a larger consciousness system. You and I are connected to each other and all the other almost 8 billion people on this world with the Desjardins noosphere or the global mind, or call it whatever you want, but we are connected to each other through a global consciousness. And when we have experiences that remind us of that and prove that to us, all of a sudden we get this little tiny glimpse. Wow, what if we have that kind of power? What if we have the ability to change the world and world situations just by thinking together and saying, you know what? We're not coming to your war. There's a better way. We know there's a better way, and we're not going to play. And we did that. We really did that. And it was a lot less difficult than stopping the Vietnam War, which also was a result of us connecting with our consciousness and saying, enough. Now, we have power beyond our wildest dreams, and there are lots of people out there who would like for you to not know that, who would like for you to forget that, who would like for you to think, gee, we better let them control things because we don't know. Nonsense. We, every one of us, are in a position of incredible power. And the power is consciousness and our connection to each other. And if you'll join me, because I work on this, if you join me in connecting with each other through this global brain, we will be able to drive things in a positive, helpful, and healthy direction, despite all the other forces arrayed against us who say, can't be done. It can be done. It is a spiritual experience. It is a God-given power. And you and I have it. And we have it when we know it, and when we don't know it, when we forget it, when we're talked out of it, we don't have it. We always have access to it, but if you don't use it, you lose it. So I'd like to suggest to you, give this some thought. Give this a chance. And look around and see how you are in communication with people all over the world and what we are doing. This is the age of the mind. And the more we're able to use it, the more power we're going to have. So I thank you for being with me today. I look forward to doing this again soon. And remember, all minds are joined. Thanks.